Hey everybody, welcome back. Remember me? I'm Barry Cloyd. Remember this little guy right here? This is the soybean seed. 8 weeks ago, we started out with this little dude right here. And now, check it out. That's how big it is, 8 weeks down the road. You see these little holes right here? This is the reason we're here. One of the reasons anyway. We're gonna pick up the process right in the midpoint. And now, we gotta make sure that this plant makes it all the way to harvest. So we're here to take care of the problems of weeds, and pests, and other things that rob the yield of all its potential. Behind us, we got this big, cool sprayer outfit. We're gonna ride in that thing too. I can't wait. Glad you're back. Really? Very cool. Now remember this guy? This is Rob Shaffer, our buddy Rob, the farmer who has planted all these acres of soybeans. And today we're here to find out what this next stage in the process is, and Rob's gonna fill us in.
We scout our fields about once a week, looking for weeds and pests and different things. And currently behind us, we're loading a sprayer right now to, we've scouted the field, looked what kind of pests and what kind of weeds need to be sprayed so we don't overspend any money or put out any products that are bad that don't need to be put out as far as harmful to either the bean or the environment. Here is the flower on the bean. For each flower, we hope to get a pod, okay?
Right.
And then for each pod, we hope to have 3 beans or 4 beans that when we get ready for the combine. And the more pods is more bushels. That's what we're trying to do, is increase yield.
Maximize the yield.
Maximize the yield and lower input costs. Yep.
Great. So about how many flowers do you expect to get on a plant like this size?
By August, we hope to have 50 to 80 pods per plant, or flowers, and those will turn into pods.
And what do you expect to get yield per bushel?
On this farm down here, we go anywhere from 50 to 60 bushels to the acre.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do better than that, but we haven't done it yet.
Okay.
So, but we're trying.
Goals are good.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I noticed there's another gentleman up there working on the sprayer. What's his story?
Yeah, that's my brother and co-owner of the farm.
All right.
And he's the gentleman that's going to run this big rig and go ahead and put out the foliar feeding fertilizer and also the chemical to go ahead and knock down the weeds that we found by scouting.
So let me get this straight. You go out and you check out the field and you see what's out there and you adjust the chemicals just for that?
Just for that. And
wow.
And also we're looking for insects. In this case here, we've got Japanese beetles which are eating our beans. They're defoliating our beans, and we're putting out some stuff to take care of them.
Okay. Now, Rob, not anybody can do this. You can, people walk into a store and they can buy pesticides and they can just put them willy-nilly every place, but there's so much more science and so much more the correct way to do this.
Yes, in Illinois you have to be licensed, okay, to mix the chemicals and also to spray them. Right. My brother goes to a day-long class every year to get educated to have that license. I personally don't, so that's why I'm handing the chemicals up to him and not mixing them. We watch the weather a lot. We try not to spray right before a big rain. If it's too windy, there's a lot of things that go into when we can actually spray. So our time frame is quite short. This year it's been a lot shorter than most because of the water, there's too much moisture. As far as going across the fields, we don't want to rut them up or anything, and hurt the soil composition.
Right.
And also trying to stay, when it's not windy and that kind of stuff, drift and that kind of stuff, just trying to keep everything all in the same field.
So being a good steward of the land there's a lot more to it than you think.
Yeah, it's just not textbook stuff you learn in college.
That's great. That's great. What's this chemical down here you're putting in?
This here is what's called a foliar feed product that we're actually taking like Miracle Grow and putting onto plants to help get more flowers, which means more pods, which means hopefully more yield.
All right, now you've got to come around with a different type of chemical to take care of the other issues that come from having a great yield.
Yes, and then we also have to worry about the pests and also the weeds, and that's the other stuff, and that's we're getting ready to do that here in a minute.
Well, I think our truck is here for the rest of the chemicals.
Yes, it is.
All right, good. Okay, Rob, what's happening now? What do we got going on here?
Here's the chemicals and stuff that we're going to spray to kill the weeds. That actually gets mixed at the fertilizer plant or the chemical plant. They mix it and put this in what's called a tender. The gallons will be in here that we need exactly for the field. And then from here, that hose, we'll take it up and put it actually up in the sprayer. So
this has been pre-mixed depending on what you found out when you scouted the field and exactly what it needs.
Yep, exactly.
That's cool.
Yep.
Your brother told me this was a 100-foot boom.
Yes, sir.
And it's 15-inch spacings.
Yep.
So about how long is it going to take to do your field? Do you have any idea?
Hour and 10 minutes.
Man, oh man, modern technology. What will they think of next, ladies and gentlemen? This is great. I can't wait to see this in action.
Let's fire it up.
Let's do it.
He can run this, Henry can run this. They'll take turns, they'll get bored tonight, and they'll park it there, and then they'll go out to the next field the next day.
Okay, we've got all the chemical loaded. We're getting ready to do this spraying operation, but what's in this chemical that you're putting in there, Rob?
In the tandem, there would be 800 gallon of water, mostly water,
Okay.
some Roundup to go ahead and kill the weeds, and crop oil to help the crop. The crop oil will actually help the chemical stick to the weeds so that the weed can take it up.
So it does its job.
Yeah, so it
Makes
can
sense.
actually get in the plant and go ahead and stop the photosynthesis.
Now, how much can you get done with a tank full of?
There's with one tank here and the 100-foot boom, we can do 80 acres at a time, and that'll take about an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, Rob, now you got to fill me in on this one because I'm a little slow in this farm stuff. If the chemical kills the insects and the weeds, why doesn't it kill the plant?
Because bred into the bean, before it comes to me, there's a trait that they've crossed on the bean genetics to make it resistant to Roundup. So the Roundup will not kill the bean.
No way. This just gets more interesting the farther we go. That's cool. That's very cool. I know you've seen these things coming down the road, and I have too. And when they pass you, you can't take your eyes off them. They're really cool. So this is going to help us understand how we get from here
to here.
Shall we continue the journey? Let's meet Mr. Sprayer. All right, gentlemen, now what are we gonna do?
We're gonna finish loading the tank behind the cab of the sprayer, and then that'll give us enough product to go out and go ahead and take care of this 80-acre patch, and then we'll go ahead and load this off and then go to field.
All right, we get to see how this thing spreads its wings, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's cool. Shall we do it? See it?
I can see it.
Put your head in there and get it then.
Well, it's coming back this way. Give it a second. I'll stick my hand in there.
All right. We've had a situation here on the sprayer. We've lost a cap inside the tank. So now we've got to figure out how to get it out. So we're resorting to a high-tech tool, a hoe, to get it out of the tank.
We're hoping it's going to come back.
We're hoping it's going to come back because this could be an issue. We got a fishing pole.
Look and see if there's a rake or something small like a hoe or something in the shed.
Oh, look at there. Problem solved.
Yeah, hold the cap.
I'm fascinated by this piece of machinery. This is something, like I said, I've seen going down the road, and I've never been close to one before. So it's diesel powered.
It's a diesel, yeah, biodiesel powered engine.
Biodiesel.
Yep.
Oh man, I like that. That's a sustainability thing. You guys are working on that. I love it.
Good for the environment.
Absolutely. You got to take care of this place. It's the only one we've got.
That's right. They're not making any more of it.
And absolutely. So diesel engine, and then how did the wheels drive? Because there's a big disconnect there.
Yeah, the wheels are actually hydrostatic wheels. They actually have 4 motors on each, or a motor on each wheel, or
right.
And then also the tires are narrower for the post spraying, so that we don't run over the rows of the beans, or we run over less beans when we're trying to go through the field and spray.
Okay, we're gonna walk over here and check out these weeds, because there were some of the weeds that are still alive that haven't been killed from the last spray application. So that's something we're gonna try to take care of again. We're gonna go grab one and identify it. Okay, we're out here in the field, and some of these weeds look like they're pretty well taken care of, but some of them are still alive. What do we got here?
Like this morning glory right here, that's why we're respraying here.
Now, why is that a problem?
It's a real viney.
Yeah?
It's a vine, like what grows up the sides of buildings and schools and that kind of stuff. But it's bad out in the field because it'll wrap itself around the plant, and you can either kill the plant, or it's really hard to combine once it gets leafy because it doesn't die off the first frost.
And it robs the nutrients of the soil, too.
Exactly, that's the other thing. It's taking moisture and nutrients out of the soil. So try to get that optimal yield.
We found out the cause of the problem right here, these evil weeds. And we're gonna continue the journey, and we're gonna get rid of them. He's gonna crank up the sprayer, and it's gonna spread its wings out. You ready? Let's do it. That was cool. What about that, huh? This thing looks like it's gonna take off and fly. Well, in a way it is. It's kind of levels itself back and forth. Rob, why don't you tell us how that happens?
There's a sensor right here as far as the boom height. You tell it how high you want it to be off the crop, and it keeps the boom that height all the way through the field, even though you're going through undulations and
because fields aren't even.
No, and that kind of stuff. This nozzle here is what the chemicals actually turn on the pump and start to move. This is what the actual chemical is going to come out to, as far as the foliar feeding the beans and also to get the weeds.
Now what about over here? We've got,
these are different tips for different crops and different amount of, depending on how much product you want to put out as far as gallons per minute, or how much stuff you want to cover. That's what each one of these are. One's for corn. There are different tips for different things. All you got to do is rotate them.
Something else I noticed too is when he came into the field, there's a couple of rows that kind of get squished. How do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, with the GPS, and also we know exactly where we go each time. When we have multiple passes in a field, we go in the same locations, and that we only run over a certain amount of beans. We don't run over more than one, we run over the same bean each time. That way we're not running over different plants each time, and we're trying to keep it all in a confined traffic pattern. So we're doing the same thing every time. This here is what we call a foam marker, and actually you're going to start seeing some like dye, and it's going to lay on top of the beans. So when you're going through the field, you know where to turn around and where to put the other boom on when you come back around. It's kind of like a marker for corn. Or when we're planting beans, right? When we're planting beans, it's a marker for when we're planting beans, just like we saw when we planted.
Sure.
But instead, we're not tearing up the dirt. We're just dropping on top so we can see where you've been.
Okay, now this stuff's got to be non-toxic and doesn't harm the beans, doesn't harm humans, right?
It's just a soap mixture as far as water and soap. With a little bit of dye in it.
I'll tell you what, somebody's put a lot of thought into this process. This is great. The more you know, the more you want to know. Man, Rob, the wings are spread and now he is flying across that field. How fast does he go?
He's going about 13 mile an hour right now. If the field conditions are really smooth, he can get up to about 15. Somewhere between 10 and 15 mile an hour and 100 foot of whack.
So that is astounding. No wonder you can do it so quickly. Now, how many times do you have to do this? Are you coming back?
Hopefully not with that rig anymore. We should be done with that one. Hopefully this application now will kill all the weeds. We may have to come back with an airplane possibly and put on some fungicide, but we'll keep scouting once a week. When fungicide gets close, we'll scout about every 3 days to see if we need to use it or not.
We'd like to thank Rob a lot. He's been really helpful. A lot of great information, huh? So much to know. Who would have thought? We're going to follow the life cycle of this little guy. We're going to continue as we come back for harvest, and then we end up going to an elevator, and then we're going to follow the trucks and barges and transportation of this little grain to market to see how it ends up on your table and all kinds of other fantastic applications. Thanks a lot. See you next time.